This week, Shell's wonderful world of golf travels to the beautiful and exotic Canary Islands for a match between two of golf's best young players. South Africa's Ernie Els, the 1994 United States Open champion. And Phil Mickelson, the talented American left-hander. It's Els versus Mickelson from the Canary Islands on Shell's wonderful world of golf. This is Shell's wonderful world of golf, a series of international golf matches played on the world's most famous golf courses. The Canary Islands are a province of Spain, located 60 miles off the northwest coast of Africa. Made up of 7 principal islands, they are all unique in appearance and culture, like the island of La Gomera, whose inhabitants communicate with a whistled language that imitates spoken Spanish. The Canary Islands have a climate that is warm the year round, which make it a favorite place of European tourists who come to enjoy the endless row of beaches and the turquoise blue water that surrounds the nearly 100 miles of coastline. There are islands that possess an incredible diversity of natural beauty and are named the Canary Islands from the Latin word for dog, canis, because the earliest settlers found large, fierce dogs here. The history of the islands has strong overtones with Christopher Columbus, who stopped here before heading off on his definitive voyage to the New World. Nicknamed the Fortunate Islands because of their tropical climate and their privileged point in the Atlantic, the Canaries today offer a variety of modern resort areas and the finest in luxury hotels. They're an ideal place for a great vacation. Golf has always been popular here, and today we are at one of the Canaries' best facilities, Golf del Sur, located on the south side of the island of Tenerife. Golf del Sur is a sporty layout that affords spectacular views of the ocean and can be a stern test when the winds pick up. Set amongst a variety of beautiful desert flora, one of its chief characteristics are its black sand bunkers. Opened in 1987, it has a par of 72, the architect Jose Pepe Gancedo, fairways and greens, Bermuda. It has been a stop on the European Tour and the course record 64 held by Jose Maria Olazabal. Hello everybody, I'm Jack Whitaker and welcome to Shell's wonderful world of golf. In keeping with the great tradition of this series, we've come to another exotic place, the Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean. We're on the island of Tenerife at the Golf del Sur, and we have 2 of the brightest young stars in professional golf, Ernie Els of South Africa, Phil Mickelson of the United States. Strength against strength, youth against youth. And here with our 2 players on the first tee is Mark Rolfing.
Thank you, Jack. I used to love watching Shell's wonderful world of golf as a kid, and to be a part of this great series today is really a thrill for me. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in the Canary Islands, but the wind is definitely going to be a factor. We have got a terrific match because in Ernie Els and Phil Mickelson, you simply have the 2 best young players in the world of golf today. Phil Mickelson, your thoughts going into this match against Ernie Els?
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I haven't played against Ernie head-to-head since I was 14. We played in the Junior World, and he nipped me by a couple of shots, and I've been looking forward to having another crack at him.
Ernie, how about the prospect of playing against a Phil Mickelson?
Well, it's great. You know, I'm pretty excited right now. It's nice to be in the Tenerife and Canary Islands. It looks like a wonderful golf course. As you say, the wind's picked up a little bit, and you know, I think we're going to try and produce some good golf and hopefully a good match.
All right, the referee for today's match is David Rickman of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. David?
Morning, gentlemen. Today's match will be played under the rules of golf as approved by the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews in Scotland, and it will consist of 18 holes stroke play. Should the scores be level at the end of 18 holes, the result will be a tie. We will not be playing a playoff. I would ask you, Phil, if you don't mind, to call as a visitor so that we may determine the honor on the first tee.
Heads.
As it is.
Heads it is.
So I
Your
get a pick?
choice. Your choice.
I'll go ahead and play first.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Play
Phil
well.
Mickelson has the honor.
All right. Good luck, mate.
The first hole here at Golf de Tour is a par 4, 391 yards, a good test today.
Phil Mickelson with the honor off the first tee with a driver, wind coming hard from the right.
And that looks to be going a little bit left. It's understandable with this wind. Off the fairway, through into the rough, but he should have a good shot at the green.
Ernie Els with the driver also. Likes to play the ball right to left, but the shot here today is to cut it back into the wind, try and hold it in the fairway. This one is huge.
And Ernie, too, goes just off the fairway, but both of them not in too much trouble. $100,000 first prize, $50 to the loser, and in case of a tie, they'll split the money. Mickelson second.
Phil Mickelson from the short rough, 134. 7-iron up the hill.
And a well-played shot by Mickelson, just under the hole. Safely on. And so is Ernie Els, but not nearly as close as Phil Mickelson.
He's now got a monster birdie putt here. It's going to be extremely fast, going straight downwind. Not the kind of putt you'd like to start the day out with.
Oh.
He'll leave himself about 3.5 feet for par. Phil Mickelson hit a beautiful second shot in here, actually backed the ball up on this green. He's left himself about 12 feet now. It's not an easy putt, though. It's going to break hard to his left.
No.
But for a lack of speed, good start, though. Nice, safe 4. And Ernie Els still has some work to do. People talk so much about the strength of Ernie Els and the power game he plays, but time after time at Oakmont in the U.S. Open, we saw him hole putts of this length. It's about 3.5 feet, should break just a little left.
Oh, yeah.
Safely in.
So 2 pars here on the first hole. Els and Mickelson all tied. Welcome back to Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. You're looking at the bell tower of the church in the capital city of Santa Cruz on the island of Tenerife.
He's swinging in the wind.
Is that amazing?
I hope he's got a good balance, Bill.
Indeed, look at that wind as we hit the second hole.
This is going to be a really good par 3 today. In fact, I think a par is going to be a pretty good score on almost any hole out here today.
220 yards downhill, Mickelson to hit first.
He's going to have to start this ball well left to the green.
Oh, come on, wind.
Standing up here on the second tee, it feels like the wind is howling at about 25 miles an hour, but Phil Mickelson's ball was never touched by the wind. Ernie Els may have learned something from that shot. Pretty big elevation change here. Down the hill, 222-yard 4-iron. And this one's going right.
Jeez.
Yep.
Right through the bunker. He'll have a very difficult second shot, as both players here at the second
Respect
hole
me.
have missed the green.
Ernie Els' tee shot here at the second not only went through the green, it went through the bunker behind the green. He's now got a real interesting shot. The one advantage he does have is he's playing back into the wind. He's going to have to pitch this ball over the bunker, landed on the side of the hill. Nicely played.
What a touch, huh?
It appeared standing back on the tee that after the tee shots, Phil Mickelson was in a much better position than Ernie Els, but having gotten down here to the green, clearly Phil has the tougher shot. Not only is the sand very dark, it's very firm. Beautiful shot there.
Oh, how about those two shots?
I think both players at this point realize just how tough the course is going to play today, and getting away with a par on a hole like this is certainly a good score.
Well, a par for these two from where they were off the tee will be amazing. Mickelson for his par. Ooh.
I think you're going to see a lot of that today. More than anything else, the wind's probably going to affect the putting the most.
Well, that's a bogey for Mr. Mickelson, one of our better putters. Now Els. Yes. First blood here at the second hole. Ernie Els at even par, Phil Mickelson +1.
Ernie, talk about the wind a second. It looks to me like it's going to affect the putting as much as anything today.
Yeah, I mean, these greens are pretty slick, and the wind's blowing pretty strong. So even on those short little putts, you got to almost play the wind into the break. So I think it's going to be quite difficult, you know, on the greens and obviously on shot making too.
We've reached the third hole, a par 4, 418 yards. Both players have hit their tee shots.
Phil Mickelson got a little unlucky with his tee shot. The ball landed right next to a sprinkler head where the ground is a little damp, and there's a huge wad of mud on his ball now. He's got 182 yards up the hill, 3-iron.
And just on the edge of the green for Phil Mickelson. Now Ernie Els somewhere behind those bushes.
Even though Ernie Els has driven the ball in the fairway here, he cannot see the flag at all because of this huge stand of bushes right in front of him. I don't think it'll be a problem, though, for him to get the ball up and over him. He's got 161 yards. This is a 5-iron.
Just short.
Short.
Yes, just short.
Cut it too much, man.
Well, from that point, Ernie Els made his par, and now Mickelson putted to here, so he has this for his par.
And this is not the length par putt Phil wants to have very often today.
Oh, my. That's 2 holes in a row. A bogey for Mickelson to put him 2 over. Ernie Els even par after 3 holes of play. The 4th hole is a very short par 4.
And it's going to play really short today because it's straight downwind. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see somebody drive this green. There's a huge bunker that fronts this green, but I don't really think it'll be a problem. All you have to do is get the ball up in the air here.
Ernie Els first to play.
Ernie very much a high ball hitter, so he's going to try and get this one up in the jet stream and launch it.
Lovely looking shot, but just a bit too long over the back. Now
Phil Mickelson, he's got the driver also. Needs to straighten the rudder of the ship here a little bit. Back-to-back bogeys for Phil. Tough start. But the golf course is going to play very difficult today. You have to be patient on a day like this. That looks good too.
And it too just a little too strong, but it may turn out nicely for him. Come on, a little more, a little more. Just off the green. Now Ernie.
You can see just how hard the wind is blowing at this point. Ernie Els drove the ball well over 300 yards here through the green. Pitching back into the wind.
Jeez. Not there.
Some of our gallery coming by special transportation.
Phil Mickelson might be the only player in the world that would take a sand wedge here. I think nearly everybody would putt this ball. But this is a shot he's very good at. The wind's from the left and into him.
Whoa. Stop, ball. Gosh, darn it. Look at that
Oh,
thing
he's
just
left himself
get off.
another one.
Phil Mickelson clearly having trouble judging the speed of these greens. They're definitely a little quicker than he thinks.
There's his fiancee, Amy McBride. Now Phil for birdie.
Normally one of the best putters on our tour. He has struggled the first 3 holes. Missed 3 in a row.
That never had a chance, did it?
That was not a good stroke there.
Ernie Els also missed his birdie, so after 4 holes, Els even, Phil Mickelson +2. The southeast shore of the island of Gran Canaria possesses the breathtaking sand dunes of Maspalomas. Formed over centuries by the Sirocco winds blowing from the Sahara Desert, there are literally thousands of acres of sand here. The dunes of Maspalomas are one of the truly spectacular places in the Canary Islands. Welcome back to Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, coming to you today from the island of Tenerife in the Canary Islands and the Golf del Sur. Well, Mark, obviously the wind is the story.
It really is, Jack, and as each hole goes by, the wind seems to be getting stronger. Phil Mickelson, who is one of the best putters in the entire world, is having all sorts of problems with the speed of the greens, and I think on a day like today, the wind is definitely going to impact the putts more than anything else.
Well, they've already hit their tee shots here at the 5th hole. Let's see what happens.
This is definitely a reachable par 5, particularly today with the wind sort of at the player's back and from the left. Second shot's a pretty straightforward shot. The ravine that's about 100 yards down the fairway won't affect Ernie at all. The thing he's going to have to do here, though, is bring the shot in from the left-hand side. He's right at 240 yards.
Come on, ball.
And that was right all the way.
Is that? Go all the way down.
Phil Mickelson's club selection here is going to show you the strength of Ernie Els. Phil's got 240 also, just like Ernie. But instead of a 2-iron, Phil Mickelson has the 3-wood. Little bit of a side hill lie. Shouldn't be too big a problem. Boy, this one looks good. Watch this. If it catches a slope, this could get real close.
And it does. Oh. He almost holed that. Almost a double eagle here for Phil Mickelson. Ernie Els has hit his 3rd shot up and is still outside of Mickelson for this birdie attempt. Yes. Birdie for Ernie.
Phil Mickelson has yet to hole a putt of this length today. He walked up onto this green thinking he might pick up 2 shots on Ernie Els. If he doesn't get this one in, he'd walk away having not picked up any. Not much break here, rather slow up the hill and into the wind.
Oh.
Gosh, darn it.
It is a cruel game, isn't it? 2 birdies on the hole, and now Ernie Els is at 1 under and Phil Mickelson 1 over. At the par 3-6 hole, Mickelson had yet another one of these putts he had to make for par.
Phil Mickelson has to fight off a little bit of frustration he's feeling after the first 5 holes. He has singed the hole 3 times in a row from this distance.
Oh, finally. But Ernie Els also parred the hole, and so their margin will stay the same. A 2-shot difference. Ernie Els at 1 under, Phil Mickelson 1 over. As we reach the 7th hole.
Another short par 4 on the card, but unlike the 4th hole where they could drive the green, that's not going to be the case here. In fact, the tee shot's a real dangerous run. There's a hazard that crisscrosses the fairway at about 200 yards. I think you'll see the players trying to take irons here to lay up. That's exactly what Phil Mickelson is doing. The wind is blowing hard from his right. Oh, and this one needs to get down. Needs to hit softly up there.
Well, it doesn't, Mark. It hits very hard and go. Oh, what a terrible shot right into the hazard.
Wow.
That really is a critical mistake by Phil Mickelson, particularly at this stage of the match.
Well, Phil's with our rules official, David Rickman from the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews, and he's decided, I think, to take a drop. Els, in the meantime, hit his 2nd shot to here and has this putt for birdie.
Not a putt he can be aggressive with. Very fast, straight downwind.
Oh, how close. Mickelson, in the meantime, hit his 3rd shot over the green, chipped to here, and has this for bogey to stay in the match. Oh, yes. That could have been much worse. And so, after 7 holes of play, Ernie Els is at 1 under par, Phil Mickelson 2 over. High above the clouds on the island of Tenerife rises the impressive volcano of Teyva, measuring a little over 12,000 feet. It's named after the ancient and fearful god of the pre-Hispanic inhabitants of the island. Set inside a huge crater, it is all part of the National Park Las Cañadas, whose landscape with its twisted lava, brilliant colors, and rock formations is stunningly beautiful. Welcome back to Shell's wonderful world of golf, coming to you today from the Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean. And a match between Ernie Els and Phil Mickelson. We've reached the 8th hole.
This is another uphill par 4. This one doglegs to the right, and like the 7th, the wind is coming hard from the right. It's not going to be an easy tee shot here. Ernie's got the honor, and he's also got the driver.
Oh, I missed it.
Hazards on both sides of this fairway, and this one's headed toward one.
And it bounces around the rocks.
Damn it.
So maybe a little bit of an opening now for Phil Mickelson.
Oh no, Phil.
Another pretty big slice here, and that one will find the hazard on the left.
Whoa. Hit a rock and almost came back.
Almost, but not quite. And this time, Mickelson has elected to play it out of the hazard. 3 shots behind.
Phil's got a pretty good lie. He can definitely get the ball out. Well, the ball came out, but the head of that club is no longer attached to the shaft.
Well, what an expensive hole.
That's a weird feeling.
Now, Els will hit too.
Got the same kind of a lie as Phil Mickelson. Boy, you hit it off these fairways, you are not in very good shape. Got to be a little fidgety having watched Phil break his club. He did not, and the ball's out.
So both players got out of their bad lies off their errant drives, but the drives were expensive. They both bogeyed the hole. And so, after 8 holes, the difference remains 3 shots.
Well, Phil, normally you carry 3 wedges. Now you got 2.
Yeah, I'll have to replace that one.
You can replace it at the turn, right, if you want?
True, but we're out in the Canary Islands. I don't know if I need to remind that. It's just kind of hard to get equipment at the spur of the moment.
We could send somebody into the pro shop.
Well, I'll just have to leave myself not a sand wedge in.
All right, we've reached the 9th hole, par 5.
And a big par 5 it is. It dog legs to the left. And there's a paved road that runs all the way down the left-hand side of this hole. The road is out of bounds, but I think the players are going to have to actually start the tee shot out over the road, try and bring it back into the fairway. And he started this ball well to the left.
Hit the road, baby.
Oh, that hits the road and comes back into the fairway. Now, how about that? That ball was out of bounds and came back in.
Back here on the tee, you can't actually see what happened to that ball. I'm not sure Phil Mickelson knows. He's got it aimed in the same direction. This is on the same exact line as Ernie's. I don't know if he hit it as hard, though.
Hits the road, and it comes back in. Well, how about those 2 shots?
All right.
Both players alive.
Ernie, do you remember the first time you saw Phil Mickelson play?
Yeah, I do, Mark. You know, back in 1984 in San Diego, Balboa Park, I went over there. We played a couple of practice rounds, and I saw this left-hander hitting balls at Balboa Park, and he just looked like something special, you know, like he wasn't like the rest of the field. There was something special about him, you know. And then, you know, obviously when I played with him that last round, I could see this guy could really play, and you know, it's no surprise to me that he's one of the best players in the world today.
Me either.
Yeah. But he misses the green here at 9 with his second shot at this par 5. And he'll have this little pitch.
Quiet now.
Now Els' second shot.
What a great bounce he got off that road. Very short second shot out here right now. This is a 5-iron into the par 5. The wind has died down almost completely.
Go, ball.
Oh, right at it, wasn't it? My goodness.
Short.
Yes, a little short, but a magnificent shot.
Phil Mickelson now with a pitch shot across the green about 30 yards here at the 9th. Shot he desperately needs to get up and down for a 4. Maybe a 3. That ball was halfway down the hole and then spun out.
Look at this. Oh boy, very close. That would have been an eagle.
Ernie Els, now having just watched Phil Mickelson lip out for an eagle 3, has a putt of his own for 3 here at the 9th. It's about 30 feet down the hill, gonna break a little right.
Hit it, man.
Both players have birdie here at the 9th hole, and at the end of the front 9, it's a 3-shot difference with Ernie Els there with 2 birdies and a bogey, but Phil Mickelson 4 bogeys against just 2 birdies for a 38. We'll be back with the back 9 in just a moment.
And now, ABC Sports presents another winning never gets old golf tip, brought to you by Comfort Inns and Suites.
Chi-Chi, as we get older and as we play longer, it seems that we're more often confronted with the yips. Have you ever had that problem?
Well, Jim, the yips are a state of mind, and the seniors golfers, what I recommend for them when they get the yips is to go ahead and practice with their eyes closed or practice putting looking at the hole.
Chi-Chi, the state of mind that you're talking about, give me an example how you would help that get more positive.
Well, a good putter sees the ball going in the hole, and a bad putter sees the ball staying out of the hole.
I like to recommend to my older students that they practice with the Bernhard Langer style, putting the shaft against their arm, Chi-Chi, or even a longer putter sometimes. But the problem is we have to get our mind so that we can see that ball disappear in the hole, don't we?
Absolutely.
This winning never gets old golf tip has been brought to you by Comfort Inns and Suites.
Welcome back to Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, coming to you from the Canary Islands. These are the famous black beaches of Tenerife on the north side of the island. Mark, the back 9 is different from the front. The wind has died. I think we're going to have a different match.
No question about it. Phil Mickelson has spotted Ernie Els, a 3-shot lead. He would have preferred not to do that, obviously. The problem Phil's got right now is that Ernie Els is not the kind of player that has a big mistake in his game. So Phil is going to have to go out and catch him.
Well, let's see if he can. We're at the 10th hole. The players have already hit their tee shots.
The hole really doesn't play to its full yardage of 484 because the second shot is extremely downhill. Phil Mickelson from 205 yards. This is a 4-iron.
And down the slope in the green and moving up toward the hole. A very nice shot by Phil.
Ernie Els has driven the ball into one of the many transition areas here at the Golf del Sur. And what a magnificent view it is from up here at 10. Ernie would like to be looking at it from the fairway.
Crunch, crunch.
This is not a bunker. It's a transition area. You can ground this club.
Come on, get to the ridge. He gets just to the top.
Might be a little short.
Ernie Els had a little bit of a chuckle when he lined this putt up. I'm not sure he thinks he can stop it short of the hole. It is going to be so fast coming off the hill. He's just barely going to touch this ball and get it rolling over the edge of the cliff here. And that was as good as he could do.
Oh, he'll have that left for birdie.
Really was a little bit unlucky on the second shot for it to stop on that ridge and not go over the top. Phil Mickelson, on the other hand, with a very makeable eagle putt here. It's about 12 feet up the hill. Should go just a little bit to his right, and this will get him right back in the game if he could make this one.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Phil putt as poorly as this.
He really doesn't seem to have much confidence in his putting right now, which is strange for Phil.
Els for birdie.
Very slow putt. 6, maybe 6.5 feet. Not much break.
Oh, very firmly. And once again, Ernie Els keeps Phil Mickelson at arm's distance. Every time Phil has a chance to gain, Ernie doesn't let him. 3 shots remain the difference. Thank you, Phil. Those people waiting up on the hill can now hit into the 10th green as we move to the 11th hole.
This is a 146-yard par 3. Again, the wind has picked up a little bit now, but from a different direction. It's at the player's back now. Ernie's had the honor since the 2nd hole of this match. Phil really needs to get back up on the tee first. This is a 9-iron shot, straight downwind. A little left and a little long.
It's getting better.
Now Mickelson, 9-iron also. Very disappointing 10th hole. Looked like he might pick up a shot or two.
Pardon me. Well, both have birdie putts here.
Ernie Els has a very slippery 8-footer here for birdie at 11. The putt is going to break hard to his right at the hole.
Boy, didn't it?
A little more speed, a little more borrow. But a 3 for Ernie Els.
Now, once again, Phil's got a chance to make up some ground.
Jack, I think this may be the most important putt of the match for Phil Mickelson. He's missed him time and time again all day long. He really needs to pick up a shot here, though. This is a much easier putt than the one Ernie had. Up the hill. Should go just a little bit left.
Yeah, there it is. So Phil will get the honor back on the next tee as he shaves a stroke off. Ernie Els at 2 under, Phil Mickelson even after 11 holes of play. Just a short boat ride from Tenerife lies the majestic island of La Gomera. Like so many of the Canary Islands, La Gomera's landscape is varied with rugged volcanic terrain offset by green fertile valleys that are full of banana, fig, and olive trees, as well as grapes that produce a variety of excellent wines. La Gomera is also home to a magnificent national park, crowned by a peak that rises some 5,000 feet. It is the only place in the world where certain floral species and the indigenous pine trees can be found. Welcome back to Shell's wonderful world of golf from Golf del Sur on the Canary Islands. We've reached the 12th hole.
Yet another uphill par 4. This is a long one, 454 yards. Breeze coming from the player's left-hand side right now.
And one of the more dramatic tees on this golf course with a tremendous view here down to the ocean. The great blue Atlantic Ocean shimmering in the background. Beautiful place.
It'd be great to stand up on this tee and turn around and hit one back toward the ocean instead of up toward the fairway. Bill started this ball right down the center, and it's hooking toward the right-hand side. It's actually going to be in a pretty good spot. It'll give him a real good angle to the green.
It's deceiving a little bit.
And there is that angle. Second shot. Now Els.
You get a sense right now that Phil Mickelson still thinks he can win this match. Like I said before, though, I don't think Ernie's going to make the big mistake. Phil's going to have to catch him. This one is up the left-hand side and very long.
And safely in the fairway. And Mr. and Mrs. Phil Mickelson. Phil's mother and father.
Very interested and concerned spectators right now.
As they watch their son and his second shot here at 12.
169 yards up the hill, 6-iron. It's a good one.
It's the putter, that thing he has in his hands now, that's giving him the trouble. Els.
Great second shot there.
Thanks. You know, I can't quite see it because it's blind from here, but you know, there's a little bit of applause behind the green, so I'm guessing it was somewhat close.
What do you remember about Ernie Els the first time you saw him play golf?
Well, I remember he had a great touch, and he could do a lot with the golf ball. He could maneuver it however he wanted to, and this was 10, 11 years ago, so you can just imagine what he can do with the ball now.
All right, let's watch. Oh, this could be trouble. This ball's headed toward the canyon on the right.
And it's hot. Look out. Oops. Good save. Oh, that could have been trouble.
Get down there.
No, it didn't, Ernie. You're safe.
Come on, man. Hit it left.
That's where it could have been, but it isn't.
The tide may be turning now. Ernie Els facing a very important shot here. Phil Mickelson's in close. He's got about 7 feet for birdie. Ernie with a tough bunker shot. Back up the hill into the wind. Oh, and he played it beautifully.
Oh, what a touch.
But he got a great break bouncing off that wall. He could well be line 4 now instead of 3. Phil Mickelson has looked at this putt from a number of different angles. His caddy has looked at it 2 or 3 times. I think they're trying to find a little break if there's any. It's not much.
Hang on.
Well, and once again.
Par 4 for Phil Mickelson. If Ernie Els could get this putt in, he would leave not having dropped a shot.
Yeah, I saw 2 things. One, I saw it holding up, and then I saw another one going. So I played it outside the hole. Really? Yeah, I think so.
After the second shots, it looked like Phil Mickelson would pick up at least 1 stroke here. If Ernie Els can get this putt in, he would leave with his 2-shot lead intact.
Oh, he doesn't, though. And Phil Mickelson picks up another shot. The match gets closer. And Mark is down there now with the Mickelsons.
Phil and Mary Mickelson out here walking around today with young Phil. First of all, Mary, how do you like the Canary Islands?
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, this is a completely different lifestyle. You know, it's relaxing. The people are so nice. You have a breeze coming off the ocean, and then you have desert like Phoenix, and then a beautiful golf course. It's a little bit of San Diego, a little bit of Phoenix all together.
All right, Phil, you taught young Phil how to play for really the first 14 years of his life. What's it like out here walking around with him now?
It's really enjoyable to watch him play, and it's very special, and we're really enjoying our trip here to watch.
Thank you, folks. Jack?
Now the 13th hole, another one of those short par 4s.
This is one of the prettiest holes on the golf course, but it's also one of the most dangerous. There's a huge cavern that goes all the way down the right-hand side. Seems like we have played a bunch of these uphill par 4s today.
Back 9 completely different from the front.
Mickelson hitting first. That's the position he wants to be in.
And well struck in the fairway, about 50 yards short of the green.
Perfect angle. Ernie's hit another one right. He's leaning right.
Oh, this could be trouble. But once again, Ernie is saved from the deep abyss. Just about hole high.
Almost in the Grand Canyon there. Hi.
Oh, now Mickelson away, second shot.
A little pitch shot of 60 or 65 yards. Carried it just a little bit too far.
Now Els.
Once again, very fortunate. From where we were back in the fairway, I know Ernie thought this ball had gone into the canyon. He's going to have to play this shot almost like a bunker shot. Hit it just a little heavy, but it'll stay up.
Just on the edge, and from there, Ernie would take 2 putts for par, thus leaving the door open for Mickelson to even the match if he makes this putt for birdie.
Not an easy putt here. Going to break hard to his left, and it was never on line.
It's just not even on line. Gosh darn it.
Yes, gosh darn it, he would have evened it up, but as it stands, Ernie Els still has a 1-shot lead after 13 holes. The island of Gran Canaria and its abundant supply of beautiful beaches has some of the finest resorts and accommodations in the Canary Islands. The architecture on the island reflects its rich Spanish heritage. Nicknamed the miniature continent because of its variety of landscapes, Gran Canaria is dotted with towns like Puerto Mogan, a beautiful fishing village whose native flowers provide a perfect backdrop for its boat-filled harbor. Welcome back to Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, coming to you this week from the Canary Islands. We have reached the 14th hole in our match, a par 5. Both players have hit their tee shots.
Phil Mickelson was real fortunate on the tee shot here. His ball landed in the hazard on the right-hand side, caromed off a rock backwards, and now has 240 yards for his second. Good lie in the rough. 3-wood. This ball started at the right-hand part of the green. Could be pretty good if it's the right distance.
Well, it is the right distance, just a little right and a little long. That's what he'll have for his third shot on this par 5.
Okay, let's go.
Ernie Els.
Ernie Els now has found one of the few flat spots in this 14th fairway. It's a perfect spot. He's got 203 yards, 187 to the front edge, 3-iron.
Come on.
Whoa.
Well, I thought that was going to be really good. Well, it held its line, and I thought it would kick left off that hill. I don't know if anybody clapped, though. They did for Ernie, so his kicked left.
Well, Phil Mickelson's second shot's gone through the green. He's going to have to muster up every bit of talent he's got. And I'm not sure he can physically stop this ball anywhere short of the hole. Looks like he's going to lay the sand wedge open. This is his patented shot. He's going to take a full swing at it. Watch how high this ball goes. Well, he landed it right on the downslope and still managed to stop at some 8 feet by the hole. That was really an incredible shot.
That's a shot that's part of his arsenal, isn't it, Mark? I mean, he does this. Let's look at it.
One of the few players in the world. He lays the face of the sand wedge wide open. He takes a full swing at a ball that's only going to go about 25 yards in the air. Landed it once again right on the downslope and stopped it. Man, you've got to have some nerves to play that kind of shot.
Well, he's got a lot of nerve and a lot of imagination. Do you remember this? Green is behind him. That doesn't stop Phil. That's why he's so exciting to watch. Talent and imagination.
He's going to need more than imagination right now if he wants to get back in this match, because here's Ernie Els with an eagle putt from just off the collar.
Jesus.
He thought it was going right. It went left.
In the gallery, Charlie King, who's been a great help to us this week. We couldn't have gotten by without his help. Head marshal here.
Maybe he could help Phil Mickelson and start reading some of these putts for him.
Ooh. My goodness.
This putt horrendous.
Boy, when your strength goes, it really gets you thinking, doesn't it, Mark?
He's hit that putter on his shoe at least a dozen times today.
And once again, Ernie Els puts a little distance between himself and Phil Mickelson. At the end of 14 holes, Ernie 2 under, Phil Mickelson even par. Well, Mark, we can't say Mickelson hasn't had the opportunity.
He's had a number of them, and clearly has had the best of Ernie Els on this side, Jack. He just cannot get the putts to fall. But 2 shots certainly is not an insurmountable lead with 4 holes to go.
Not at all. We're here at the 15th hole. Let's see what happens.
This is a dog leg to the right, and all the elements are headed in the same direction here. The slope is from the left to the right, and the wind is coming from the left to the right. So this will not be an easy tee shot to keep in the fairway.
Another great vista from this tee of the island of Tenerife.
Come on, Bull. Come on.
Put that to the right again. Steady. That's the shot he'll have left.
Really shouldn't be too big of a problem for him down in there. We've seen him hit a couple of those already today. And this one's headed left.
Well,
no problem, though, just up on the hillside, short rough. Not a very good angle for Mickelson on this second shot. The hole's all the way in the back of the green on the upper shelf. He needs to get the ball up on top. Oh, it's not going to get up there, and that is not really a very good shot at all. That's going to be a real tough 2-putt from there. Now, Ernie drove the ball down into this transition area, but he's got a perfect lie. He's going to play it just like a bunker shot. It's 90 or 100 feet from the flag, playing downwind.
and play beautifully. Of course, he's had about 3 or 4 of those today.
Really, every shot he's missed has been to the right, but even though there's been trouble on the right, he's been safe.
Now Mickelson.
Putt is fast at first, it's slow going up the hill, and then fast once it gets over the top.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well,
boy, it must feel like he's got an anvil in his hand right now, not a putter.
Well, youth must be served.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I almost had that feeling as he stood over it.
Well, started right with the second shot, 70-yard shot, took 4 from that point.
Els makes his par, and so at the end of 15 holes, Els 2 under, Mickelson 1 over. The island of Tenerife has some of the most beautiful, varied, and exotic scenery in all the Canary Islands. The largest of the islands, its rugged coastline offers breathtaking views, and its tropical year-round climate provides plenty of time to explore its multicolored beaches. The capital city of Santa Cruz and its wonderful gardens are a tourist favorite. Tenerife is where the Canary's best tobacco is grown and hand-rolled into some of the world's finest cigars. Then there is the fantastic Drago tree. Said to be 2,000 years old, it is 70 feet tall. The original inhabitants of the island used sap from the tree for medicinal purposes and wood to make weapons. Be sure to join ABC Sports next weekend for the Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge featuring golf's longest-hitting threesome.
That'd be fun. Is that who I'm playing with? Oh, perfect.
I played a lot of golf with Daly. I don't mind being out hit by John, but I'm going to have a new experience being out hit by Laura.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fan, and I'll be stood back on the tee with him on every hole just to watch. So, you know, I'll be like a spectator as well as playing in it this week. It should be fun.
That's Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge next weekend on ABC Sports. And also next weekend, on Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the final edition of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf this year. From the old course at St. Andrews in Scotland, Seve against Paul Azinger. Welcome back to our match here in the Canary Islands. The 16th hole is a par 4. Players have already hit their tee shots.
Ernie Els will play first into this 16th green. Phil Mickelson now can either surrender or suck it up and try and get back into the match somehow. Safely to the center of the green with a 3-shot lead. It's exactly what you would expect at this point.
Switch it back.
Ernie knows all he has to do right now pretty much is just make 3 pars and he wins.
3-shot difference.
Mickelson from the left-hand rough.
Phil probably thinks he needs to make 3 birdies at least. So both safely on. But once again, Phil Mickelson put his first putt, his birdie attempt, well past and is faced again with another difficult putt for par. Oh, and again he misses for another bogey. In the meantime, Els pars, and after 16 holes, Els 2 under, Mickelson 2 over. As we get to the 17th hole, a par 3, 202 yards.
One of the ways Phil Mickelson could solve his putting problems would be to make a hole-in-one here. It's pretty much what he needs to do. Really is no excuse for his poor putting. The green's in excellent condition. He just has not been able to get the speed. 211-yard 3-iron for Ernie. Ernie Els, on the other hand, has played pretty steady. He did get a couple of good breaks early on this backside that could have gone the other way. Phil Mickelson with his 3-iron also. Would he love to see this one go in the hole?
So Phil Mickelson safely on. Both players took 2 putts. Both got par at 17. And as we came to the home hole, Ernie Els 2 under, Phil Mickelson 2 over. And we'll be back with the 18th hole in just a moment. Welcome back to Shell's Wonderful World of Golf from the Golf del Sur in the Canary Islands. A beautiful clubhouse here on the island of Tenerife. We've come to the home hole.
What happens if it hits the batter? That's not legal, is it?
Yeah. When it kind of hits him up here, on his body, well, you're only allowed to bowl, there's 6 balls in the over.
Right.
You're only allowed to do that once. You know, give him a little bouncer that comes up to his head. But yeah, it's all legal.
But if it hits him, the batter's not out or anything, right?
No, you got to hit the stumps.
Right, that's the only way.
That's the only way, and sometimes that's why you got to umpire on the other side. I'm the batter, and the guy bowls at you. You got 3 wickets.
Right.
You know.
If it hits any one of the wickets, you're out.
Okay, and if you go forward and you want to hit, you know, block the ball, and the ball pitches and hits your left leg, and the umpire sees it would have hit the stumps, you're also out.
Oh, that's what I was getting at. If it hits you, to block it from hitting the wicket. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, Phil talking a little cricket there with Ernie.
Little change of subject. Phil probably wishes right now he was back home with the boys at the club so he could press Ernie here. About the only way Ernie could lose this match right now would be to hit it out of bounds to the left. He hasn't done that. It's gone right.
Well, hits a golf cart. That might have been in more trouble. For a guy that's hit it right all day, he's had some pretty good results.
Actually, tee to green, I could make an argument that Phil Mickelson had played better than Ernie. He's going to end up this day right at about 36 putts.
Which is incredible for Phil Mickelson. Beautiful drive here for Phil. So Ernie Els now from the right rough, second shot.
The match effectively is over at this point. Ernie Els not going to have the disaster that Phil would need. But these guys are going to play many more times in their career, I'll tell you, so I'm sure Phil would like to finish well here.
And I would hope we would not see another day of putting like Phil has had today. One of the strengths of his game just deserted him. Nice
Step
shot.
on that drive a bit, did you? Huh?
Just got a good bounce.
Jeez.
Stop the crowd.
Oh, Els away.
I always like to birdie the last hole, even if you do have a big lead coming in.
A par for Ernie Els, who finishes at a 2 under par 70. Mickelson for birdie. No.
This darn thing. Gosh
This darn thing down to the last green.
Probably wishes that club would have been broken rather than his sandwich back at the 8th.
A par for Phil Mickelson on the final hole. Ernie Els wins the Shell's Wonderful World of Golf match in the Canary Islands.
That was a good match anyway.
Els went out in 35, while Mickelson had all that trouble on the front, 38. On the back nine, Phil made up some ground with the birdies at 10 and 11, but came a cropper at 15 and 16, while Ernie played very steadily and got a couple of good breaks. And in the end, Els defeated Mickelson by 4 shots. Ernie Els 2 under 70, Phil Mickelson 2 over 74. Now let's go down to Mark.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. On my left, a gentleman that I'd like to acknowledge, the president of Tenerife, Mr. Adin Martin. Mr. Martin, Thank you very much for your great hospitality and all your help this week. It's been a wonderful time for all of us here in the Canary Islands. Thank you. Phil, it was a disappointing day, I know. You played pretty well tee to green, but just could not get the pace of those greens.
Yeah, I'd get on the greens and it just felt like an explosion went off my hands every hole. So that was a little frustrating. I would have liked to have made it a little closer match.
All right, Ernie Els, it wasn't a spectacular round, but it was a solid round. Really, no mistakes.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I played pretty solid from tee to green. I think both of us, we never really made a lot of putts, especially Phil. He made it kind of easy for me coming down the stretch, but I really enjoyed it. You know, I want to thank the Tenerife, the Gran Canary Islands. You know, we've really had an unbelievable time here this week, and obviously Shell. You know, Shell, Wonderful World of Golf. It's nice to have been part of this, and hopefully we'll be back soon.
All right, well, Ernie, on behalf of Shell and all its employees, its retirees, and its customers worldwide, I'd like to present to you this trophy, emblematic of your victory today in Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. And also, as is customary, to the winner of each match in Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, this brand new Rolex.
Thank you.
Ernie Els is the champion. Back to you, Jack.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our first trip to the Canary Islands. And what a match. It proved once again what we've all known, that putting is such a very important part of this game. One of the world's best putters, Phil Mickelson, had some trouble, and that was the whole match. But young Ernie Els and young Phil Mickelson will meet many more times in their brilliant careers. Now, next week, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf has a special surprise for you. We're going to take you to the home of golf, the old course at St. Andrews. Our adversaries are Seve Ballesteros and his Ryder Cup foe, Paul Azinger. We hope you'll join us. For Mark Rolfing, this is Jack Whitaker then, saying goodbye from the Canary Islands. We'll see you next week on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf.